There it is. I've never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. Didn't unmute me mic. The winning feeling. West Ham won last night, 1-0 away in Anderlecht. Wasn't pretty, but we got the job done. But I'm here to talk about one man and one man only, and that is Gianluca Scamacca. I don't know where to start, really. He's starting to turn into a player that West Ham have always needed and wanted at the club, a natural born finisher. And last night proved it. He comes on the pitch, he scores the goal and wins us the game. For me, Gianluca has been a player that has took time to bed in, but he needs to start regularly now for West Ham. Like Premier League games, even so much as conference games when we get at the group stage. I think when we get at the group stage, I can see this man starting twice a week, in my opinion. He's embraced the club and he loves the club to a point. Mitchell said something last night, which I totally disagreed with him on. I really, really did. And he turned around and he said that Scamacca will be here for a couple of years and then he'll leave. I don't believe so. I believe Paqueta will go before Scamacca. And I like Gianluca. I like his attitude, the way he holds the ball up. And listen, nothing against Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio has been a great servant to West Ham, but there is levels to the game. And last night proved it. Like when Gianluca comes on, he finds that bit of space. And fair enough, it wasn't a outstanding finish, but it was a clinical finish, and then he scored the goal that won us the game. What a difference a week makes for West Ham. And obviously, I'm going to do like a little mini Fulham preview in this show today. Last week, we was all sitting here wondering what is going on with David Moyes, what's going on with West Ham to a point. But as the week's gone on, obviously, we got the win against Wolves, a 2-0 victory. And then last night, it wasn't pretty, but we did get the win. So that's 2 wins out of 2 in sort of 5 days. Now, obviously, Sunday is coming and the weekend is here. West Ham need to put in another good performance against Fulham. I don't expect Fulham to be that sort of walkover team that they usually are. I think last week against Newcastle, they lost a man in the early stages of that game and basically got absolutely hammered by Newcastle. So it sort of doesn't reflect on how Fulham are at present. So how do I see us going into this game with Fulham? For me, Gianluca has to start. He has to start. Since he sort of started scoring goals, and I see a stat earlier on, 6 games he's played, 5 goals. Do you know what I mean? From the start, which is pretty damn good. Like to sort of for a player who's sort of only just come to West Ham, new country, new surroundings, everything. Fair enough. Most of them goals have been in the conference, but you still got to score them. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, the Silkenborg goal is the best goal for me out of the lot of them. I think the Wolves goal was good, but the way he took that goal in Denmark was unreal to a point. Obviously, as I say, Fulham is a must-not-lose game, I believe. I believe also Moyes has changed his tune on a lot of things also. Like, I think people have calmed down the Moyes out sort of cries. I get it. Listen, I am sort of on the fence with Moyes at the minute. I think the next sort of month will decide where I am really with him. But I will say one thing: his stubbornness has sort of slowly dropped from being ultra stubborn, playing his favourites, to now giving the likes of Kehrer right back a go, Scamacca a go. And he got his rewards on Saturday, just gone. And obviously last night was a good performance. And it was so great to see Flynn Downes in there and all, who is another one who hasn't really been treated fairly, to say the least, at West Ham so far. Do you know what I mean? When certain other players who are playing consistently crap still get the opportunities to play. But listen, as I say, last night was a polarising game. Like, listen, I done the player ratings last night. I watched it back, and maybe I was a little bit harsh on some of the ratings, but in the fair reflection of the game, certain players just didn't turn up last night. And Syed Benrahma was one of them. Like he gets into the positions, but his end product was absolutely awful. And I've backed Benny up. I really have. I've tried to back him up and support him. And listen, it's been a hard road with Syed Benrahma over the last 2.5 years, or 2 years, for however long he's been here. Now, when I look at him now, I don't think he's here come January, if I'm being honest. I think January West Ham might look to get him out, get another player in, and sort of progress. Listen, when you're signing the likes of Paqueta, Scamacca, etc., you're going to improve. Your team's going to get better, and certain players ain't going to be able to sort of meet that threshold of being that top quality player. And I don't think Benny can reach that pinnacle of that threshold, if I'm being honest. When you are signing top class players in Scamacca and Paqueta, then there's levels to the game. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like the Antonio Scamacca debate that sort of rumbles on social media and everywhere. That Antonio should be starting games and Scamacca needs to earn his stripes. Now, when I hear that and I see that, I do laugh. I think, well, if you're good enough and you're banging goals in, you should be starting. Do you know what I mean? And Mickey hasn't done that. And the same thing goes for Benrahma. Now, I was disappointed with Benny last night. And really, as a personal aspect, well, I won't look at it as any other aspect. As a personal aspect, I was disappointed with Benny. So I thought, if Syed Benrahma turns up last night, performs, he easily gets that starting spot on Sunday for Fulham at home. Last night, he literally done his calls, no good whatsoever. Absolutely not so bad, so bad. And I felt for him last night to a point. But then I looked at him and I thought, like, certain things that you did was just borderline shocking. Just shocking, in a way. So when I weighed it up last night, and I give him a 3 out of 10, which I still stick to this day, it's a shame. It's such a shame for Saeed. It really is. I don't know what's going on there. I really don't. I don't know whether it's Moyes just keeps giving him a bit of confidence and then just knocks him down like 3 pegs or what. I don't know what it is. But obviously, Sunday, I don't think he starts the game at all in the slightest against Fulham. Who else was it last night? Angelo Bonner was another one for me, who Mitchell gave him a 7 out of 10. I weren't convinced with Angelo. Do you know what I mean? He did get booked last night, which was a bit of Dawson's fault. I will say that. Dawson's out of position and he does get booked. But one thing I will say is Angelo Bonner isn't the same player as he was last year. And that injury has really dropped him down to a player that we're never going to get back. It's a bit like Lanzini, who I will get onto shortly. And it's a shame. It really is a shame. But Angelo, for them sort of games and dead rubbers, I think he's perfect for. But I think anything where we have to put in a performance, I don't think Angelo can do it anymore. It is so sad. It is so sad. Same thing with Lanzini. Like Lanzini last night, the boys went in on Lanzini. And another one who's been here for a hell of a long time at West Ham. I think he's been here 7 years, I think he is, right? And he scored some great goals. I remember the goal at Chelsea away where he scored. And listen, he's been an absolute first-class gentleman, Manuel Lanzini. But last night, it's just like you're just putting players into positions that really are just not doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? Even though we won the game, Manu is just not the same player again. It's a bit like Angelo Bonner. Both got big injuries, bad injuries, and then just crippled them. He just crippled them, and they're just not been the same player. But one thing I will say about Manu is he's been very, very loyal, and he's never outspoken about wants to sort of demands to play. Do you know what I mean? I think he knows where he is at with his career at the minute at West Ham, and don't get me wrong, he's enjoying it. But I just don't think he's the man to move forward at West Ham, so to speak. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it will be a sad day when he goes, but I do think he's been here a bit too long now. And it's a shame, really, that we're seeing him sort of decline in front of our eyes, if I'm being honest. Obviously, like last night, it was such a good feeling to have a win. Do you know what I mean? Because West Ham have been struggling this year. And Jared Bowen last night, I like him. I like him a lot. I like how he's coming back into sort of this form again. And that this month is massive. West Ham got 7 games this month now. Like we've got Liverpool in there, Manchester United at the back end of the month. We've got Bournemouth, Southampton, and then we've got a couple of Europa Conference games in there and all. So we've got some big games coming up for West Ham. And Jared Bowen, if he could hit the ground running now, then that'd be perfect for us. He hasn't been on it recently. I must admit, the goal against Wolves will have given him confidence, because that was the Bowen that we all saw last year. And last year, I thought Jared was first class. I thought at the start of the season last year, I thought he was poor. I will say that. But then sort of the back end of October, beginning of November last year, I thought it was excellent. I thought he just kicked into gear and just goal consistently over and over again. So Jared Bowen did perform last night. And it's so nice to see. It really is. Now, I will get on to this man, and I will sort of get to Scamacca at the end. Flynn Downes. Now, I see stuff on social media that sort of baffles the life out of me. It really does. I look at what people say and I think, how can you knock the man? Yeah. And why does the man not deserve a chance? Now, Flynn Downes, for me, has come to West Ham and he's been really treated like an Alex Crowell reboot, if I'm being honest. West Ham have a player there who's a West Ham fan, so he's going to let a lot of things go, because he's associated to the club. He loves the club, he supports the club, and he's going to do as he's told, basically, in a roundabout way. You know what I mean? The last night, Flynn Downes proved to me that this man is very close to breaking through the door of a Premier League start. What I see of him last night, I thought he was excellent. He gets stuck in, his positional play, and I do say this, and I do mean this wholeheartedly, when he's off the ball, and the opposition have got the ball, watch his positional play. It is absolutely Declan Rice-esque, to say the least. I watched a few things he done last night. I thought, you know what, this kid's getting better and better. And if he can do it in a European game, fair enough. I would like to see him alongside Declan Rice in a Premier League game, in my opinion, and see exactly what really is going on. Do you know what I'm saying? I think Souček, anyone who knows this channel and anyone who's sort of followed this channel for a long time knows Mitchell, and Mitchell is a very much a Souček out person. I'm not so much in that camp. I do agree with certain things that Mitchell says, but I'm not sort of to the point of lynching the man. I will say that. But I do think Flynn Downes is pushing Souček there. Like, Declan Rice won't ever be moved from West Ham central midfield, but I think Souček could be. And I think Flynn is a very good player. Do you know what I'm saying? And underrated. I see something on Twitter and people were saying, oh, he's massively overrated. And I'm like, I look at him and I think, well, how can he be overrated? He's got a man of the match performance in one game. And last night he was man of the match in another game, in my opinion. Last night I thought he was 100% man of the match for West Ham in that central midfield. And especially with the way Lanzini was playing, it just wasn't good. Do you know what I'm saying? So Flynn needs to bide his time, but I do think Moyes has to give him a chance eventually in a certain game. Will he get a chance in the Premier League? I don't think he does. I think he's been brought in to basically be a Conference League and Cup game player. That's what I believe it is. Now, if Flynn would have known that at the start of the time that he signed for West Ham, I don't think he would have signed for West Ham. And I think he would have went Palace, in my opinion. But maybe the love of the club has drawn him. I think any West Ham fan, me, the chat, anyone, when you get asked to play for your boyhood club who you love and support through thick and thin, I think you're just going to do it anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? And just take the consequences of whatever happens. But yeah, listen, to sort of round it up with Flynn, I thought Flynn was excellent last night, and long may that continue. He's a little gem, that kid, little gem, and he needs to get more games and see him in games, even off the bench in the Premier League. I think he can do a great job for West Ham, really do. Now I'm going to move on to sort of last night, and as I say, I started the show with Gianluca Scamacca, and I'm going to end it sort of with him before I come to the chat. And I just think Gianluca, mate, is how we've got him for £30 million or £32 million. I don't know how we've got this man to the club. When West Ham, when West Ham was doing like transfer business in the summer, I was doing a lot of the spaces on Twitter with the lads, and I was having hundreds of people come on and say about different players, different personnel, etc. And there was the old debate of Broja or Scamacca, and I was always in the Scamacca camp. I looked at him and I thought, you know what, this kid, he come through the PSV Eindhoven system with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ruud van Nistelrooy was a clinical striker, and that's what I'm seeing a bit in Scamacca, if I'm being honest. I grew up with Ruud van Nistelrooy smashing goals in against West Ham United, right, for Manchester United. But Gianluca is like starting to sort of show that in the Premier League now. Obviously, he needs support around him, and obviously an informed Bowen does help. But I do think Gianluca was first class since he's been here. Like, I think in the first few games he was frustrated because he was playing in them games. He was coming off the bench, and a lot of the fans were looking at him and going, "Oh, what's this all about? Like, have we got another Haller?" But when you're putting pressure on the man to score goals when we're behind, is a lot worse than saying to the man, start the game and give him the confidence to go and score the goal at the start. So I thought last night when he come on, he was a breath of fresh air with Paqueta. Paqueta's skill is unnatural, to say the least. Do you know what I mean? And he's another one who I do see a difference in West Ham, like in regards of signing players. When you look at players that we were linked with before these lads arrived, like your Lingards, your Keane Lewis Potters, they blow them richly out of the water, literally out of the water. And when I look at Gianluca and Paqueta, they are starters in every game for West Ham. In any serious game for West Ham, then two are automatic starters. Right, there's no two ways about that. But I think the sort of crossover now between Antonio and Scamacca, I think a lot of the fans are starting to see that Gianluca is the man right now. And I think a lot of the sort of younger fan base can't let go of the Antonio love. Like, if a lot of people have grown up with Antonio and seen him score goals and save West Ham, a lot of people go, "Oh no, you can't treat him like that. He's a club legend." Great, but West Ham have had club legends like Di Canio, like, who was a great player for West Ham in his time. Even Dean Ashton. Anyone who remembers Dean Ashton, we had a top class player then, back in like 2005-06 season when we got to the FA Cup final. And sometimes you get the changing of the guard is good. And I am glad that Moyes has started to sort of open his eyes, stop this stubborn approach and this favouritism, and say, right, certain individuals deserve to be starting games because they are levels above of what we've got at present. So long may that continue. I have put Gianluca in my dream team. I've decided I think he's going to start a lot of games for West Ham there. I think he's a natural born finisher that West Ham have been looking for. And listen, if he doesn't perform in one game, I don't want the fan base to be sort of on him and all over him and say he's awful like another Haller. But he will score goals. And I just feel that in the future, that spine of the team with Scamacca, Rice, Paqueta, even Kehrer to a point, West Ham are building a not a tidy side. It's just the manager now has to get the best out of these players. He can't have no excuses now, Moyes. He's been backed. He's been backed ahead of a lot of money. So when West Ham don't perform, then Moyes will have to be looked at, in my opinion. And finally, to sort of, before I do come to the chat, the system last night I did not like. I do not like this 3-4-3 or 5-3-2 or however you want to sort of say it. That system last night, I know Moyes matched up with Anderlecht because they do play naturally a three at the back. But for me, last night, I just don't like that system. West Ham are just not productive enough in that system. Like, fair enough, West Ham did have chances yesterday, but it just doesn't feel right for me. It just doesn't flow right. Like a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, I think West Ham can do some damage there. But obviously, we've got to look at it that every time West Ham play a three at the back, five at the back, we just do not perform at all. And we struggle in a way. So something's got to change on that, in my opinion. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get to your chat and have a look, see what you are saying. What we got? A minute. I'll go to this one first. James, Ben Rama has been ruined by Moyes. Plus, if Souček starts against Fulham instead of man of the match Flynn, then it shows why Moyes must go as soon as possible. We have the tools. Scamacca, Bowen, Paqueta, Kehrer, Rice, Flynn, Poch in. Oh, fair enough. How can I assess that one? I think, obviously, the Fulham game is big because if we lose the Fulham game, this last week has been really for nothing. Do you know what I mean? If we don't perform against Fulham, who we should be beating with the amount of class and talent that we've got at West Ham United Football Club, we should be turning over Fulham, 100%. But I do understand what you're saying. There is certain players, and Ben Rama has been sort of treated bad to a point by Moyes. Moyes has more work to do in replacing Bonner, Lanzini, Cresswell, Dawson, and the like. I think Craig Dawson last night. He played okay last night, but he's another one. Like when he does eventually want to move, we've got to replace him. So I do think there's still work to be done there. I do agree with you on that, Robert, 100%. Man of the match in FCSB game, played better last night. Man of the match versus Anderlecht. Sooner he start in the Premier League. Yeah, listen, Andy, I totally agree with you, mate. I thought Flynn was. I called for it the other day. I turned around and said that Flynn has to start, and I did have in my chat, in my comment section, saying why must he start? The reason why he must start is because I do think there is a gem of a player there. Like I spoke to a lot of people when we signed him. I was on a space on Twitter. Anyone that doesn't know what space is, it's an open chat. If you're a Twitter member or follower or whatever, and you can go on there and talk about football and all that. And I had done a space, and I spoke to a few fans who sort of were raving about Flynn Downes and said West Ham have got a player there for how cheap we've got him. He's going to be class. Now I'm seeing elements of that. Do you know what I mean? I think with better players, Flynn gets better. Do you know what I mean? If that's Flynn last night in two man of the match performances, and one of them with Manuel Lanzini next to him, what's he going to be like with Declan Rice next to him for 90 minutes? Yeah, I'm all over it with Flynn. I would like to see more of Flynn Downes, in my opinion. Benny needs a run in the side, has hardly played any minutes when we've had Paqueta and Mac on the pitch. I agree. I agree on that. He hasn't. I don't think he's played with. Well, has he played with Scamacca? I can't remember if he has or not. There's certain games. I think Jared Bowen needs to sort of slow down a bit, though. I will say that because he plays every single game for West Ham, conference games, Premier League games, and the fear is I do worry about overdoing it with Bowen. But listen, what you're saying about Benny, I'm not going to go and start saying he's the worst player ever because I don't believe he is. I think last night was a bad performance by Ben Rama. I will say that, and I'll hold my hands up and openly admit that. But I do think he needs a bit of confidence from somewhere. Like it comes in waves with side Ben Rama for me. 1 minute he is like decent, looks good, plays well, and then another game it's like he doesn't know how to play football. And I'll be honest with you, I could probably go over my local park on a Sunday afternoon, yeah, and people have been out on the drink the night before and had a good party the night before could play better than Syed Ben Rama. And that's not an insult to Syed Ben Rama. It's just the inconsistency of the man. But 1 minute he's good, 1 minute he's woeful, to say the least. Why does Moyes keep saying that Downes has had a slow start? Where is he? What's he referring to? I don't know what he's referring to, that Jezza. I really have got no clue. For me, the only thing I fear on that is the Souček loving. Do you know what I mean? I feel that Moyes has got this thing with Souček where he just does not want to drop him. Now, listen, I could do a stream and I could say to fans, come on and give me your assessment of Thomas Souček. And vast majority of them would turn around and say he's been poor. Do you know what I mean? In the last sort of 12 months. Now, Flynn comes in, and what people will look at is the teams he's played, FCSB, Anderlecht. He's both played really, really well. I can't remember the last time Thomas Souček had a man of the match performance. If someone could tell me the last time Thomas Souček had an outstanding performance and was man of the match, I'd like to see it because I can't remember it. So I don't know what Moyes is referring to. Flynn is the modern day new Nobes, James. Just needs a top coach now. Razor is on the coach hunt. He really is. Sorry, but missing an open goal is nothing to do with confidence. Benny should be putting that away, and I'm a big fan of him. Yeah, I agree. I agree, mate. 100%. If we can invest proper money into top quality fullbacks and a defensive midfielder, we have a top quality squad on our hands where we can rely on individual brilliance to win some games. Well, I think we've stumbled across a right back in Kera who can go there now, and I think we'll do a bang up job there. I think central midfield. I think this is a big year for West Ham because I think if West Ham do win the conference, I think Declan might stay. Or he might look here and stay. Obviously, change of manager, change of personnel at different clubs now. Maybe they look at different talent. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think wherever Jude Bellingham goes, then it might ease off for Declan, because I don't think Declan will go up north. I think he'll stay down south. To me, that's only one team that he's looking there is Chelsea, unless he wants to be a modern day hero at West Ham. Now, if he goes and wins something at West Ham, he becomes a legend at West Ham. Let's put it like that. Because West Ham haven't won nothing for 42 long years. But we need to keep Declan at this club and build around him, Scamacca and Paqueta. Newman chose Scamacca and Paqueta and Kehrer. He knows his players worldwide. Ex-Pep transfer scout. Yeah, listen, I always said it about Newman. And I remember doing many spaces on Twitter and people was criticising Newman. And I was like, this man brought Sergio Aguero, Fernandinho to the club, David Silva. Do you know what I mean? Company, Vincent Company. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, fair enough, these are young fans. These are in your age bracket of 16 to, say, 22, 23. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, mate, if he can bring them players to the club for small fees, like I might add, we might have like stumbled across like a guru, so to speak. You know what I mean? Downes, Scamacca, Paqueta, absolute quality last night. So excited to watch. It is. It is. Paqueta for me, the touches are good. I don't know. It's just I want him to score a goal. If I'm being honest, I really do. What we got here? Antonio isn't a finisher. Scamacca all round is good. He holds the play up, comes deep for the ball, brings others into play, links up the play with others. One thing I will say last night that Mitchell got spot on. Yeah, and I will say this is when he holds the ball up, he don't look to go down and buy a foul. Like he looks to hold the player off and move the ball forward. Whereas Mickey, I know he's very sort of robust and just like he'll run through brick walls for you. But sometimes he overdoes it with the old falling down and like trying to have a fight with defenders. Like that ain't going to win us games. Do you know what I mean? Getting the ball forward will win us games eventually. So I do agree on that. What Mitchell said last night. What we got? Let's get down to here a minute. What we got? I didn't think we played well last night, to be honest. We gave Anderlecht too much possession, but they were just poor in front of goal. I will say that. I wouldn't say it was a great performance last night. Far from it. And I'll openly say that. But I do feel that West Ham were the better side in the end, like to say the least. Like I thought Anderlecht had their moments, but West Ham sometimes just West Ham should have put that game out of sight before it was out of sight. James, why on the red earth can I hear a chopper helicopter when I am trying to listen to you? Because I live in the Bronx, mate. That's why. Do you know what I'm saying? Helicopters everywhere in the end. People do forget Ant works hard, but he's not a natural striker. We haven't had one from losing Haller, who Moyes couldn't handle. Now we have one, and that's top quality. Yeah, I'll give you that. I agree with you on the formation as well. I want to see Moyes play a 4-4-2. I can't see it happening. Downes had a very good game last night. Moyes needs to start him in the Premier League. I totally agree on that. I don't know about the 4-4-2. I don't know about the 4-4-2 because I think 4-4-2 is a bit of an old hat sort of system. But Downes starting, yeah, I agree. And that three at the back just irritates the life out of me. It really does, because West Ham just don't hold the ball good enough and control the game better, right, good enough to do that. Like, me and Mitch had a debate about this, and basically Mitch said to me that West Ham can play that system and play like possession-based football. And I said, West Ham can't, mate. West Ham just don't hold the ball good enough. Like, West Ham are not a Manchester City, Liverpool with some technically good players. We've got very good players, but we just don't hold the ball well enough. Dawson went to war on Sunday. Yeah. Down, sorry. Kavinsky's money has to now go towards a few more quality players and a top coach to play attractive football. Moyes out as soon as possible. Poch in as soon as possible. I agree with the Kadinsky money. Razor. I know Razor's literally adamant he doesn't want David Moyes there. I'm not in that sort of boat at the minute. I'm literally, for once in my life, I'm on the fence. I'm watching from afar and thinking, what his next move is. I understand what Razor's saying though. Right, Kadinsky's money has helped West Ham. West Ham don't spend 170 in a window and go out and buy Italian international, Brazilian international, German international, Tunisian international, not Tunisian international, sorry, Moroccan international, and just consistently buy top end players. West Ham don't. So Kadinsky's money has helped. I do believe, this is my own personal thoughts on this, once Kadinsky takes over, I don't think Moyes is here. And I've always said that from minute one. I think Kadinsky takes over, he allows Moyes to do his job. I think the moment it starts not going the way Kadinsky wants it, he'll go out and he'll go and pay for a high-end manager. We've got an investor in the club. And I see some people just talk the biggest load of shite I've ever read in my life about he ain't going to take over West Ham. He will take over West Ham. He will look over because he will look to invest in the club and buy the stuff in the surrounding areas. He's a billionaire, mate, and he's minted. And I think he will want to take over a Premier League club who is fighting at the top end of the league. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. Moyes will be sacked soon. I'm having the confidence. I agree. Kera can do a good job at right back, but next summer we ought to find a proper Kafal replacement. Well, the worry I do have on Sunday, and I will say this, is that Ben Johnson is back now. Now, will Ben Johnson go at right back, Kera, Zuma, and then Cresswell at left back? That is a bit of a worry. I agree about the replacement of Kafal. I will say that. I don't think we need to sort of take Kera out of right back. I think Kera's. I watched him against for Germany against England, and I thought he was excellent. So, excuse me, Kera for right back for me all day long. With two home games and away game, bottom of our group to play. First place is basically secure. Let's beat this lot again next week, and then we have 2 games to experiment new players and tactics. I agree on that. I agree. I do think I always said West Ham won't lose a game in this sort of group stage. I'd be quite shocked if West Ham lose a game. Don't get me wrong. The 3 games that we played, FCSB, we were in a goal down. Silk and Ball, we were in a goal down. And last night, I wouldn't say we rode our luck a little bit, but we wasn't good. It wasn't great. But we just got the job done. We got the win, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be nice to see us play and just destroy a team, really. But I'm not seeing anything of that this season, if I'm being honest. Ariola must be knocking on the door for a Premier League run now. Ridiculous save from Silva, said late on. Totally agree. That was a great save. He's a top goalkeeper, Ariola. You don't go and play for PSG and Real Madrid if you're crap. Let's put it like that. And I do think, Ariola. I think the first game of the season when Ariola played against Man City, he gave away the penalty. I think that just dropped his credibility down. I think if he would have put in a decent performance there against Manchester City, and I'm not saying if we would have won or drew the game or whatever, but if we would have, if he would have played well, then I think he would have been starting more games. And I don't think Fab would have been having to wait for his chance. But then saying that, Fab hasn't really done anything majorly bad. The only thing I can think of that Fab's done really bad this year is Chelsea away when he come out for Chilwell, sorry. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my thoughts on him. If Moyes Moyes knows the players. So what tactics can we develop to target his weaknesses? Well, basically crosses into the box, mate. 100% crosses into the box. If Issa Diop plays, he don't jump for a ball. Do you know what I'm saying? And you need to isolate Issa one-on-one. I don't think Issa even plays, mate, if I'm being honest. If you want me to be truthfully honest for Fulham, I think Fulham are looking at, they spent £16 million on him and he's not worth £6 million at the minute, in their opinion. So, yeah, that's really my thoughts on that. Finally, though, before I sort of round this up, I will speak about Moyes and say that I understand the frustration with a lot of the fans. Like Razor in the chat is literally adamant. Even Eastside Views, who's in the chat, have been banging on about getting Moyes out. I don't think getting Moyes out, I think it would have to be so bad to get Moyes out. Literally lose, lose, lose. Now, we've won 2 games, and I understand it. I'm not getting carried away. Do you know what I'm saying? We beat a poor Wolves side who lose their manager, and then we play Anderlecht, and we just get over the line. But I do think this month is massive. We have got some big games in this month. Bournemouth, Southampton, Man United, Liverpool, even Fulham, and we've got 2 Europa League conference games in there also. So I do think West Ham, this is a big month for Moyes. And if he can turn over this sort of leaf of like being not non-stubborn and being more productive, and I think his stubbornness has dropped. I think we have to give him some sort of benefit of the doubt here. His stubbornness for players has dropped. There's only one person really now that he needs to sort of look at and assess, and that is Thomas Souček. I think if Thomas Souček performs and plays the way he has been playing over the last sort of 6 months, because anymore, Flynn Downes is banging on that door and saying, "Listen, what is going on?" Like, because I think West Ham and Flynn Downes could do better than Souček at the minute. Do you know what I'm saying? With Flynn in the team, so it will remain to be seen on that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. West Ham are back, right? It's 2 out of 2 now, and Fulham on Sunday is going to be a big game. Obviously, I'm not getting too excited over the Moyes in or out thing. I'm literally on the fence, and that's the first time ever I've never been on the fence on something. I'm not 100% convinced in Moyes at present, but I'm giving him his benefit of the doubt for now. He has won the last 2 games. West Ham have played okay in the last 2. I think Wolves we played better, but last night we got the job done in the end. But this month is massive for Moyes, and I do understand that the fans' frustrations with Moyes. I get it. He's got top quality players, and West Ham need to be playing like a top quality side, and we haven't really seen that this year in certain games. But, and there is a but, he deserves a bit more time to prove to the fans that he's turned over a new leaf. I mean, he's turned over a new page in his book. So we will see what happens with him. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. It really helps me and the lads out. I will be back on Sunday. I will be doing a player ratings in the evening, and I will be doing an after thought straight after the Fulham game. Will we get the win that we need? Who knows? But if West Ham do perform, it's 3 out of 3. And my final words is Gianluca Scamacca, the Italian sensation, mate. Because I do think he's going to be absolute class. Everyone, have a good Friday, and I will see you again in the next one. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.